on top of the pit box. He is not planning to get in the car on this stop. It is likely Hamlin is going to try to run the whole race.
Fixing those crush panels in that right front was one thing I was worried about, getting fumes up in the car.
Now that battery is in front of the left rear tire. That's the reason they hadn't raised the hood or anything. They just take the left rear tire off. It'll be right there. And they're also doing repair work on the front end of that 88 car, trying to get those splitter braces repaired.
239 laps to go in the Subway Fresh Fit 600 on Fox.
Time for an AT&T race break. We are live in Phoenix, and moments ago with Juan Pablo Montoya leading Jimmie Johnson here. 236 laps to go, and Denny Hamlin, the highest he's been, 13th, being pushed here, and some battery problems. Denny Hamlin, who won the last time we raced, the race in Martinsville, had the knee surgery after that race, and told us on the pre-race show after 50 laps he'd give us a gauge. He's hanging in there, but he's in a lot of pain, obviously, and has been throughout the race, and has been involved in a couple of the cautions early. Casey Kane and Kurt Busch, a mix-up in this one. On board in the 11 car with Denny Hamlin, and some damage to his car afterwards. In the restart, Jamie McMurray spun here by Quint Boyer. And then on lap 56, the track continuing to take its whole slick. That's Brian Vickers with a problem, and moments ago, the problem with Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, you see him right there. They're pushing the 11 car back to pit road. They came in during that caution to try to work on the car to get a little bit better. Had a battery issue, tried to change the battery. It left pit road. Then at the end of the pit road, all of a sudden the car went dead again. They had to push him back around into the pit area.
Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, still quite a bit of green flag racing despite some of the cautions.
Yeah, right now we're on board with Denny Hamlin. They've got the car going once again under power, so they've got that 11 car back running. But he now finds himself 2 laps down. And to me, when you're 2 laps down and not able to keep up with the leaders, it may be time to pull him out of the car and just try to, just give him some relief as far as what he's having to deal with right now. There's Casey Mears on top of the pit box at Joe Gibbs Racing. He's ready if they'll just give him the nod.
Casey Mears has run 12 times at Phoenix, 11th his best finish, and of course in the points picture, Denny Hamlin 15th coming in. And
understand something here. This is the driver's decision. I mean, the crew chief and the owner might say, what do you think? You can't pull him out of that car if he doesn't want to get out of it. I mean, I think Darrell Waltrip can play off of that, but it's very, very difficult to sometimes make those decisions for the best of the team, though.
I'm sure Joe Gibbs, part of obviously the man in charge, this is something with J.D. Gibbs that was discussed beforehand. And look, a good athlete, good driver, they're going to want to finish. They're going to want to tough it out. You have to do what's best, and given the circumstances.
Well, this is going to be very difficult. He's got to make up 2 laps now to get himself back up to where he can really score some points. With the damage on the car, him not filling up to par, I mean, that's a pretty tall order.
Meanwhile, Juan Pablo Montoya, what kind of adjustments? We saw the recent pit stop, but as the track changes for the 42 car, what kind of adjustments should they be making?
Well, each car's gonna be a little bit different. Right now it looked like Juan Pablo's car is pretty good on long run. We've seen the track temperature continue to come down. We had our guys check it just a moment ago. Track temperature is about 102 degrees. When we started, it was 115 degrees. So the hotter and slicker it is, the more harder it is to grip. As it cools down, the cars are going to tighten up. You've got to keep up with those adjustments. So far, Brian Patty and that crew on that 42 car, they've done an excellent job, as well as Chad Knaus in the 48.
Be sure to cast your vote all season long for the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew from your AT&T phone. Text the car number of the crew you think that is the most valuable to 2258. Delivered by AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. Juan Pablo Montoya, slightly ahead of Jimmie Johnson.
The sun is low in the sky in Phoenix, Arizona. 232 laps to go in the Subway Fresh Fit 600. We're under the 4th caution flag of the day. This one for debris in turn number 2 from Kurt Busch, who hit the wall in 4 and did make it back to pit road. There is a look at the running order. Everybody through the top 25 is on the lead lap. A very interesting race among the cars that are usually termed the starting parkers, the fellows who don't have full sponsorships to run the whole race. Nobody wants to be the first of those out of the race. There are 5 of them. They're between 19 and 36 laps down, but nobody's giving it up. Like Dave Blaney, who always qualifies well, or his teammate Michael McDowell from nearby Glendale, Arizona. They come in for fuel and tires, go back out. Terry Cook is one of those, but nobody's willing to go to the garage.
Well, NASCAR has pretty much a new protocol. The first car out of the race, if it's not tore up, you go back to the R&D center for a full-blown inspection, just like the race winner.
There's a look at McDowell from Phoenix. Let's go down to Jeff Hammond today, today in the Nationwide pit zone.
Thanks, Mike. The key thing when you think about sitting on top of this pit box is making the right decisions. We've already discussed the fact here at Phoenix how important it is to keep up with track changes. Well, a lot of these teams today, they've got their notebook, just like any good coach, all the plays you need. And I'm talking about the track changing all the way to the scenarios of whether late in the race, whether you take 2 tires, 4 tires, or even no tires in certain situations. We saw this a couple weeks ago at Martinsville when Mike Ford came to pit road unexpectedly, everybody thinking it was the wrong call, but because of his playbook, he was able to do it, get it done, and still win the race. The playbook on top of this box, well, that's where it all happens, folks.
Thanks, Jeff.
Wonder if he has a playbook to take a hurt driver in a wrecked car and 2 laps down and get back in the race.
There's a guy with a playbook right there.
Oh, yeah.
Chad Canals.
But you know, I talked to Mike Ford right after that race, and Mike Ford said that he absolutely knew the window of laps where he was going to stay out or whether he was going to come to pit road. And when that caution came out, by his playbook Jeff Hammond just talked about, pit.
The busiest pit crew under this caution has been Jamie McMurray's. He has been in half a dozen times, twice to check the left front and then to set the toe, and then they brought him back in again, Larry.
Yeah, Chris Devoda talked about him complaining after that spin that the toe out was out, and of course that's the amount you aim the front of the tires out on the front versus the rear to make the car stable, and you don't do it by raising the hood. You jack it up and adjust the tie rod, and that crew, they pretty much have kept him on the lead lap.
Going to wave off the restart. There are still safety trucks on the racetrack. The jet dryers blew debris off the racetrack. Hamlin is 2 laps down after the battery change and the car stalling at the pit exit.
You know, I know it all went out the window and was all for naught, but I'm sure that 42 car, they hated to see that caution came out, because under those green flag stops, not only did Montoya get advantage of his fresh tires sooner than the 48, but the time in the pit stall, Montoya's crew was a second faster than the 48 crew.
Wow.
Tells me that the 48 may have made a slight chassis adjustment.
Joey Logano leads our Toyota top performers of the race at lap 147. He is 3rd with Kyle Busch 8th, and Marcus Ambrose, who started the day in 4th, running in 14th. There are 25 cars on the lead lap. That includes David Reagan, who just got the free pass. And nobody yet has been in the position to take that wave around. So we're set for the restart with 2:29 to go, and still a whole lot of sunshine on turns 3 and 4.
Mike, you mentioned McMurray in that one car, and I think they have actually called it off again. We're not going this time, so it'll be 1 to go, which is a big break for that one car because he's sitting on pit road. They're still trying to adjust that tie rod on that right front to get the toe out right.
Murray is away. He will beat the pace car to the pit exit. Let's check with Matt.
And Mike, visibility, a big issue for Matt Kenseth. A few moments ago, he told his spotter, Mike Kalanoff, when the safety trucks were on the track, he had a hard time actually seeing them because the sun was glaring into his eyes so badly coming off for. He said, help me out, be more descriptive if we have any kind of incident off turn 4 or on the front stretch, because I'm having such a hard time seeing at this juncture.
See, that's one thing I don't understand. If you have the playbook, how come you don't have all that tape like Martin Truex? See, he's getting ready to pull a piece off here. That's what you do. You put it on the inside so the driver can adjust it to his liking. But why would you not have prepare yourself knowing that the sun's going to be a problem during this race there as it starts to set in the afternoon? I'm surprised.
It's not like you have a sun visor to flip down.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they didn't take that into consideration.
Another challenge, spotters are normally above the grandstands on the front stretch. So spotters here at Phoenix are dead in the middle of 1 and 2. Makes it tough to make a call going away from you going into 3 or coming at you down the front straightaway.
But the good thing, Larry, they don't have to look into the sun like the drivers do coming down the front stretch. will complete 148 laps this time and look for the green flag. Pace car is in.
Watch these restarts. They are treacherous.